So, and we can get a little bit into this when we start talking about positions. But one of the things that we were thinking about was sort of kind of not necessarily redefining positions, but sort of coming up with special roles that might be easier for us to fill. So for example, if somebody doesn't necessarily want to be a treasurer, but they don't mind taking minutes, you know, they could just be the minute taker, and then they wouldn't have the other responsibilities of that a treasurer normally would. You know, we can have somebody who, what's that? Yeah, it's secretary. Did I say treasurer? Or situations where, you know, if we need to talk to the mayor, or maybe we want somebody who can be the letter writer for any specific correspondence. So just things like that, where, you know, you might not want to be the secretary or have this other giant role with a bunch of things. But if there's one little thing that you think that you might want to do, that might be a better way to approach it. Another thing that we were also thinking about, talking about, was we have a lot of, we like to have youth involved in the cultural council, but a lot of the problems that we run into is we'll have a high schooler who joins, and then they're a senior, and then they get to the end of the year, they graduate, they have no reason to stick around. And then, you know, the next year, the school year starts up and they're off to college. So one of the things I was thinking was it might be better to reach out to college freshmen for kind of like a youth representation, because they're trapped in Fitchburg for another 4 years. So they might be better prospects for youth. And then I think that is it for announcements that I can recall right now.
Leo, can I ask a question about that? If we were to look for a college freshman to do this, would that freshman have to be a Fitchburg resident?
I think they do.
Right, that is a good point.
I'll check the charter, but I think they do.
But if they live in the dorm, they would be a Fitchburg resident, right?
You need a certain amount of time.
Unless you are legally separated from your parents or are, you know, otherwise emancipated, you would be considered a resident of whatever hometown you are claiming dependent status in.
Not for voting purposes, though. You're considered a resident for, if you're in college, you're considered a resident for voting purposes if you're someplace for 6 months. So you can vote. If you're in college here, you can vote here, as I understand it.
It could be something that we need to look further into too.
It sounds to me like that's so.
Because I know,
but I think it's a good idea to get freshmen or sophomores in college.
Agreed. I do as well. It's a 3-year, either freshman or sophomore, right?
Yes.
Great. No, I think it's a good idea. But I just wanted to point out the one logistical piece of it, and then maybe we can talk about how to go about getting volunteers.
Write that down. Actually, Tamar, you raised your hand a little bit? Did you have?
Well, yeah, it's not relevant with a student actually, but I mean, the mayor let me into the council when I didn't live in the town. So, and that was because I had interest in the town, I had business in the town, the city rather. So, I mean, it might be that a student could be living in one of the nearby towns, but if they attend, you know, if they're involved in any way in the city of Fitchburg, I would say it's probably a similar situation. If he would let me in, then, you know, if the student maybe works in town or is somehow connected to Fitchburg, that's the most important piece.
It's a good point. It is at the mayor's discretion, right?
Yes, yeah. It is. The mayor makes the appointment.
All right, but I noted that down, that students might not get in because they might not be considered residents.
Leo, I can speak to Joan David, the mayor's administrative assistant. I'll be seeing her tomorrow to submit some paperwork. for building purposes. And I'll ask her to speak to the mayor about that.
Cool. Yeah, that'd be awesome. That'd be swell.
All right.
And then I think too, because I think that there's also like an argument to be made that if you know they're a good college student, they're doing everything they want, chances are they'll be around for long enough to be considered a resident. So, but all right, I'm gonna.
Yeah, and I'm not a Fitchburg resident, so, but I was on. Dun, dun, dun. Maybe I shouldn't be here.
Well, that's,
You
we
gotta sign.
have a business here, so it's relevant, right?
Yeah, that's true.
All right, cool. Can you guys see? You guys see this all good? The minutes.
Yes.
Cool. Oh, my screen sharing is paused. Akla, you made it.
Welcome.
Welcome. I'd like to make a motion to
Cool.
approve.
Second.
All right. So those are those minutes.
So, I don't need to actually like write down specifically who votes. I just need to I just need to count whether it passes or it doesn't pass.
Yeah, but you should also include who makes the motions and
Who is seconded?
Right. Yep.
Yeah. And in order for something to pass, it just has to be more than 50%.
Right. Yeah. For now, we're going with I don't know the term for it, but basically, a majority. And if it's hard to tell whether there's a majority or not, then we'll go into roll call votes.
Okay.
These are the social media subcommittee meeting minutes, which fortunately for you guys are very short because I was having a hard time taking minutes while I was doing this meeting. Anyways. And then as we vote, I guess as we vote to approve what we came up with later on, we can explain more in detail.
Do you need a motion?
Yep. Are we good with these minutes, guys?
Yes.
Cool. Arlene, do you want to make a motion to?
No, I was at neither of these meetings. I just wanted to move things along.
Motion to approve.
Cool.
Second.
Awesome. And then the last one.
So are these dates hard?
No. These we're gonna have to go back and pick new dates because these dates were the dates that we picked. When was that? Yeah, August 3rd. So, you know, if we'd met sooner and our plans had been approved, we would have been able to hopefully have done it this week. But because we haven't been able to actually approve anything, these dates are.
Oh yeah, I realized now that was a silly question where that says the 20th of August. Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
You know, I'd like to make a motion, Leo, to approve these minutes.
Awesome. I think, yeah.
I second.
Who said
Cool.
that?
Claudia.
Cool. All right. Now let's move on. Let's see if I can find. Here we go. Cool. Jim, any updates with the treasurer's report?
Yeah, it's pretty much a stayed static since before the summer because we haven't had any submissions for requests for payment, except the mail that I got last week, the mayor's office. We do have 2 requests for payment from a Dan Kerouac and from the Cultural Alliance that does the music in the schools. So it's a total of $1,400. So we'll be submitting that. We have right now in our account, we have $1,645 local funds, $13,123 left in our Massachusetts Cultural Council account. With these 2 submissions of $1,400, we'll end up with a balance of $11,723. Of that amount, $9,632 are the 11 remaining grantees who have yet to submit their request for funding.
Okay.
Can you do those numbers again?
Sure. We have our local funds, $1,645. Our Mass Cultural Council account of $13,123.
$13,123.
$23, right. And after the request for funding by 2 of our grantees for $1,400, we'll end up with a balance of $11,723.
Okay.
Now, the implications that everyone needs to understand moving forward, we still have 11 grantees who have not submitted any requests for funds. And as we move forward, we're going to have to look at our next funding request to keep some encumbered monies. So we're going to need to know which grantees are going to use this money into next year. So we will need to let the Mass Cultural Council know the amount we're going to need to encumber. So I know Leo has been talking to some of the grantees, remaining grantees, to find out what they're going to be doing moving forward with their requests for funds.
Yep.
And now, Leo, I have 2 requests for funds for extensions that was also in the mail that I picked up last week. Do you want me to present that now? Because we need to approve any extensions.
Yep. Did you get? I know I got one from Fran Hart. Is that the one? Did you get
No,
one?
I did not get Fran
Okay.
Hart's. I got one request from Noel Floof for the Thurston Consort, and another request from the Jazz to Hip Hop program.
Cool.
Do you want me to read the letters for requests?
In a little first, let's hear from Akla first.
Sure.
She's with the Blacksmith Festival.
Yep.
And she has a request, a modification request. And then once we hear from her, that way we don't have to take up any more of her time, and then we can go and see what we want to do about the other extensions.
Okay.
So Akla, did you want to go and let us know what how your plans are changing? Oh, you're muted. Ask to unmute. Let's see if I can unmute you. Oh, there
Okay,
you go.
can you hear me now?
Yes,
Okay.
you're good.
I am pretty sure that we cannot have a festival in the same way that we used to have, but I had already committed a judge that we pay honorarium of $400 to $600 a year when he comes and demos. So my thought was that we'll continue with that tradition, but split it into 2 or 3 different segments. We'll save money because we will not be giving awards. Normally, my budget is somewhere from $6,000 to $7,000. We raise money besides the money we get from Cultural Council. So, but with the $1,230 or something like that that have been approved, I would sponsor Zoom workshops. And there is a school a blacksmith school in New Hampshire, unfortunately not in Massachusetts, but we'll send some, we'll pay for demonstration for one of the teachers there, and all blacksmiths in New England Cultural and Mass can watch it on Zoom. And I don't know how many will sign up, but we will have to pay for the Zoom and the judge. And I would say the $1,200 will be easily spent on that. We'll, instead of doing it we can't do it for a whole day. We'll just do 2 hours into 3 different segments. I have, and you know, we normally use New England Blacksmiths email to publicize it. We can use that. We can use Fitchburg. We can use Fitchburg Cultural Council to publicize. And then people who want to look at it, I do not keep a mailing list of attendees that attend the festival. So we will have to publicize it by other means. And I think it can be recorded and people can see it. That was my idea.
Okay, you mentioned, was it funds going to a school, donating fund?
You know, we were thinking of, you know, the 3 schools, 2 schools participate in it, but then Leonard had said that we should have a Fitchburg school too. Unfortunately, so far, people from Elizabeth Valley Technical School and Bristol Plymouth School, because their teachers are very interested in blacksmith, and there is a lot of personal effort on their part to bring the students in now. But that has been the very exciting part of it, because they are the future. They are the people who are learning from these skills and get interested in it. So almost all blacksmiths look forward to having these young kids come. So then I talked to Monditech. They have a metal fab shop, and the gentleman there is kind of a very complicit, but I think the woman there is whom I've been suggested to contact. And they had done that project at the Fitchburg Art Museum. The man, what is his name? Jessica knows. Yeah. So I think we can bring them on board as the third party. So we'll, you know, if in person becomes available in spring, then we can pay a trip to go there at the Brentford School or any of there are 3-4 other blacksmith schools here for the students to go there. But if it doesn't, it has to be on Zoom.
Okay.
So I would spread the spending from fall till spring.
Okay. And sorry, just to clarify for myself, so it would be just to move the festival, it would just be Zoom classes, right? Zoom classes, and then
Zoom demos,
and then that's it, or what? Right, because just Zoom demos and then supporting those other schools, kind of,
Yeah,
or with demos?
I don't want to give them outright money or anything like that. I would like them to use it towards learning the art of blacksmithing. So they'll get some kind of a certificate. I cannot make that judgment right now for spring. So hopefully in spring we can have in-person trip for them. They really enjoy the day because we personally provide them with lunch, with there's a camaraderie they get, and it's an outing for them. So I would like them to have the same experience.
Right.
And so let's see how it goes. I cannot as yet predict that.
So you said you're going to use some of the funds for judging. So will you?
No. That we have a judge, and that judge does a demo as part of his day's work when the festival takes place. But now that there is no judging, so we'll just ask him for a demo.
Got it.
Which will do it on Zoom. And I like to do that in fall only because I don't want the rhythm of the festival go out for the people. So those who look forward to it still get some experience.
And the Zoom classes would be happening this fall, right?
Yes, I don't think it's September 26th for the day of the festival. It's a little too close. So
Right.
I think it's more like after Columbus Day, October or something.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, so I think in regards to your project, and something that I just wanted to mention to everyone else too, is that when talking to Veronica, I think you guys saw the emails earlier on that we received in the year about being flexible with modifications and extensions and all of that. And then another thing too that they've expressed to me is that they also don't mind at all if whenever we, during pandemic season, COVID and everything, that they don't mind at all too if we use our funds as a form of relief for the groups that are that we grant out money to, because one thing to consider is that if some of these groups, smaller groups, if they don't receive funding for 1 year, can they stay open for another year? Can they come back next year? And kind of the impact that plays in the community. So those are just my little tidbits when it comes to this. But does anybody else have any questions for Aqua? Tamar?
I don't have a question. I just want to put in a vote for her because it's an incredible festival. She's brought people to Fitchburg for years, encouraging people in blacksmithing, which is incredible. It's like a dying art. So, I mean, I would like to make a motion that we accept her adjusted proposal.
I second that motion.
I second it.
Yep. And so
Claudia.
all for approving the motion to accept ACLA's funding, yays?
Yay.
Yes.
Yay.
Awesome. That looks like the.
Leo, I have a comment.
Yep.
Is Akla still with us?
Yep, she's still there.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, hi, Jim Craig, the treasurer. You understand, you can request your funds now using the same process as last year, the same forms.
I don't know if I have the form. I have not been working from my office. Most of my files are in the office.
Okay.
And, so if Leonard, you can send me as an email attachment the form. I will then have it taken care of. I work out of my home. I can go in, but I'll have to spend some time there.
Okay. Yeah, the funding is $1,232 is what the award was to you for your grant. But it's the same process. So do you want me to send you the forms?
Yes, please. If you want to send the copy, then I can give you my address.
Yeah, give me your address, please, if you don't mind.
You can send it to my home, which probably is not on the record. It's 34 Williams Road.
Hey, don't give
Williams,
address.
Really?
We're on TV. I wouldn't suggest giving your address here. Just
Yeah.
okay, I got it.
You can write it in the group chat if you need to, though.
All right.
And
I'll
it's
set
Fitch-
Akko.
all right.
Actually,
send
I'm
the-
sending you a message just to double check spelling on something.
I missed what you asked.
Just check the group chat. I'm asking how to spell your full name.
It's ACHLA,
And last name, right? I should probably-
MADAN, MADAN.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. I think that's all. That was for me today.
Yep, you're all set.
Okay. Bye-bye. Take care. Keep your good work. Actually, I have one more question.
Yes.
We had combined with the Renaissance group, and I have been guiding them a little bit to get money. They used to bring a horse and all that, and but I have completely not connected with them, and I don't know. I told them directly to apply for the Fitchburg Cultural Council grant. I don't know if they did, and what they're doing, I have not kept up with that. So this year, I'm not going to do much about it unless somebody has on their own asked for it.
Well, we'll keep an eye out for it. Grant season is pushed back a month. It's still up in the air because of the pandemic and everything. So grant season isn't open yet. So far, it's pushed back to October, but that's up in the air too. So we'll keep an eye out for it.
Dave Geary was my contact there. I'll give him a buzz and ask him if I have no idea how they can do it without the grounds and all that. So, and all they are doing, they all had, I think, second jobs. So they're probably doing okay. I wish everybody all the best. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you. Have a good one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Could
Yes.
I ask a question? Wouldn't
Yes.
it be, are these, the people who are asking for extensions, do they have to put this in writing, or do they have to come back and plead their case again? Because that's going to be very inefficient, I think. I have to leave today at 5:30, and we just spent 15 minutes on that, which we were going to approve anyway because she's got a wonderful show.
So
But seriously, back to my original question, can't they do it in writing?
Yep, they can submit in writing. A lot of times we like to bring them in just in case if you guys would like to ask further questions. But the one extension request that I have right now is in writing. And then I think that the ones that Jim might have are also
They're both in writing.
cool.
It would help me to see it because I really couldn't, I haven't ever seen her show. I understand it's great, but I couldn't really understand what she was talking about or what she was asking for. And so it would be so much better to see it in writing, even if the person is there and they were just there to answer questions.
It'd be nice if there was
Ursula
like
is a very,
report, of like, this is what we originally asked and this is how it's going to be different.
Yes, and what the cost will be, the difference in cost and that sort of thing.
I noted that. So I'll try with the next ones. We'll try to see if we can get something in writing ahead of time. That way you guys can read it and maybe have a quicker, easier vote, or just come prepared with questions.
Yeah, and if those could just get sent out with the meeting minutes before our meetings start, that would probably be perfect.
Yeah. And if we were to create a form, is that something that like we can decide on, or is that a MCC thing?
I think that we can, if we want to create a form for grant modifications, extensions, I don't think that they would object.
They might actually have one that we could use instead of building everything ourselves.
I could ask Veronica to, we might, not hear back from them as Veronica was having a family emergency, so we might not hear back from them too soon. But she put me in contact with somebody else who might be able to help. All right. I'm gonna share my screen with you guys one more time. All right. So this is from Fran Hart, Francis. They received $350, and what they want to do is push their deadline, get an extension until August of 2021. So if you guys can see this, can you guys read this? Would you guys like me to read it for you?
No, we can read it. I can read it.
Awesome.
And I motion to accept. It seems like a reasonable suggestion.
Yeah, basically they want the show to still happen in person, so they just want to push it until August 2021 when they know that they'll be able to have it. Well, they won't know, but they assume that they'll be able to have it in person. And they also, with the extension of until August 2021, they won't be applying for a grant next year because they already have this one, so they won't need it.
Sounds perfectly reasonable. So I motion to accept.
Second.
Sorry,
Cool.
what is the program specifically?
Yeah, I don't know what.
This one, what was this one for? I don't. This was a.
I've got it here, Leo. Fran Hart, he wanted to do a cultural and historical reflection of the 1960s.
Yeah, so it's like a Beatles type of interactive kind of lesson plan here.
Oh, I remember that one. That sounded cool.
Yeah. So this one, he wants to have it in person so that they can go and look at things and not just see them, but interact with the objects and all of that.
Okay. All right.
So they're just requesting just to, the only change is that it'll be next year?
Yep, just because our extensions, our blanket extensions only go up till the end of the fiscal year. He wants it a month past that, so.
Okay.
And did that motion to approve get seconded?
Yes.
Awesome. And then anybody object to the motion to approve this extension? Awesome. So motion passes.
Now, Leo, question, are you going to notify him that he will be granted an extension?
Yep.
Would you at the same time ask him if he would want to request his funding now? So we don't have to encumber those funds into the next year?
Yes, I can do that.
Because he can request it now.
Cool. And then Jim, we had the two extensions that
Yeah,
you
I'll be brief with these. This is one from jazz to hip hop. They've already received their money of $500. And again, due to COVID-19 pandemic, they want to postpone their presentation for a time after the shelter-in-place order has been lifted. When they schedule a new date for next year, they would immediately notify us of that fact. And this was sent to us in June, was the request. They received their 500. So it's jazz to hip hop.
All right, and it's just they just want an extension basically until
They want an
next year?
extension, correct?
All right, yeah, that sounds. They already got their money, so we don't have to worry about encumbering their funds, right?
We just need to approve their as an extension.
All right. Sounds.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Anybody object? Nope, sounds good. That motion passes. And then the next one, Jim?
The next one was the Thurston Consort. It's a kind of a long letter. I'm not going to read the whole letter. They were doing this concert at the Upper Common Church along with the Fitchburg Historical Society. They respect the request from the Fitchburg Council, an extension of our LCC grant. The Thurston Consort believes this letter meets the requirements for formal request. Thank you for attention in this manner. So they're asking for an extension beyond January to do it next year.
And they also haven't requested their funds.
They have not requested their funds, and this was a grant of $1,200.
All right.
Motion to approve.
Second. Would you be able to reach out to them as well to make sure that they apply for those funds shortly?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Noel Floof is the contact person.
All right, awesome. Cool, so those extensions are out of the way. And then
I just for that last vote, I need to make an abstention because I'm on the Historical Society board. So I'm just abstaining.
Sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
We're just gonna make sure, yeah, Audrey, you catch that abstention. Cool. Now we're through with that. All right, so basically now let's jump to the topic of sorry guys.
Okay.
Here we go. We got all the votes for modifications and extensions done. I'm gonna open up again voting on positions. Has anybody had any second thoughts, changes of mind, changes of heart, and or maybe a small little role that they would like to fill in, like maybe the official minute taker, or maybe the official liaison to
Help Leo. Leo, I would like to nominate Audrey to be our secretary. And if we split up that seat and maybe have a secretary just for the grant cycle, which is what Veronica suggested, we could break it up. But I'd like to nominate Audrey.
What is, how would it be, why does it need to be split up? What would be the difference?
I was just making that suggestion because I know during the grant cycle it involves, of course, I guess Jim could speak to that better about the amount of correspondence that takes place during the grant cycle.
Yeah, the secretary is responsible for notifying all grantees that they received their grant with approval from the council, and those that have not. And so it's a bit of, and there were 39 grantees last year that you needed to make contact with.
Right. So if you would like to not be the grantee secretary, that's also fine too. We can discuss that more or figure out if anybody feels comfortable doing that when the time comes.
I would volunteer to be the grantee secretary if that would help.
Cool. So I leaned for grantee secretary. Well, hold on. First, let's deal with Audrey's nomination.
One at a time.
Right,
Is it
right.
something you want to do, Audrey, or?
I'm unsure. I was looking at the descriptions because Tamar gave me a heads up. Tracking membership, contact info, helping with agendas, checking council records are all up to date. I can even post, that we are having meetings on Facebook and stuff like that. I feel a little bit stressed doing minutes right now, which is why I volunteered to do minutes.
So if it's maybe a little bit of a stress relief, I'll volunteer to take minutes at all these meetings if that's what folks need. But as long as it's that discrete duty.
Discrete duty, like you're
You're the minute taker.
I'll be the
unofficial?
minute.
He's
Cool.
saying he doesn't want to do the other part of it. I would do it.
I'm saying my commitments beyond these hour and a half. This is going to be a pretty tough year for a lot of us, but I just have commitments that have grown over time here in the last month or so.
No, that is perfectly fair. I had to get a new piece of paper because I ran out of writing space in my old piece of paper. All right.
If it turns out I have more time, I will happily volunteer for more things. I've just got 3 boys in 4 schools right now, and I'm halfway going out of my mind. So
That is a lot.
Yeah.
All right. So, Audrey, you don't like the idea of doing minutes, but you don't mind everything else.
Yes, other than the drafting letters, which like Eileen has already volunteered to do.
All right. So I'm going to put you down right now as maybe.
I have a question. In the responsibilities, I don't know if this is the same thing as what Eileen would be doing, but it said like basically like drafting emails and correspondence with the grantees. Does that mean like whenever grantees ask a question via email, like I'm the one that would be writing the draft for that email, or?
I would volunteer to do that. I think it all kind of works well together because I'd have the records and everything.
Yeah.
I agree. That sounds like a great idea.
Okay, fair.
Right now, the way that I do it is I just get an email from somebody and I'm like, oh, let me figure it out, and it's kind of work it out on a case-by-case basis. So yeah, we can figure that out. However, but I typically don't mind writing them emails.
Well, I think it keeps it all in one spot, and you're pretty busy being the president. You have a lot of things you have to do, or the executive director. The other thing I was going to suggest is I could put together, for these extensions that are coming in, an easy to fill out form that would answer all our questions in the same order. I'd send it, I can do that, this week and send it to you, Leo, and maybe we, it's something that we can use for the rest of the extension so that we can get through these things more quickly. So what do you think of that?
Yeah, well, one thing I did want to mention too, I mean, we voted on them and we approved them today and whatever, but all extensions basically until the end of the fiscal year are all already passed. So we just got, if somebody asks for an extension, we just have to make sure that they know that they already have it. As long as it's not past, the end of the fiscal year, what is that, July 31st?
July 31st. So we got a long time to go. There are things
Right.
that we'd like to know right off. We want the name of their program so they don't have to go, funneling through we have to know how much money they got, how much money they need, what they want to change, that sort of thing. So I can make that into a form that would make it easier going forward.
And we do need to know if they're going to do an extension that whether we need to encumber the money going
Yes.
into the next fiscal year.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
That
definitely.
too. So why don't I take a shot at doing that? You can take a look at it, and I think it'd make things easier for us going on.
If
That
you
sounds good.
are familiar with Google Drive, you could put that in the Fitchburg Cultural Council Google Drive in that way.
Not so much.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm a writer, not a tech.
Well, there's a Google Doc program, which is very similar to like Microsoft Word.
Okay, well, maybe Leo can throw it in if when I send it to him.
Yeah, that should work. So all right, so here's the basics of what I have right now. So Audrey, you'd be the regular secretary. Work out the details a little bit of what.
Administrative.
I thought that was gonna be Sean.
Yeah,
So
So
I was looking to do minute taking.
Right. So Cena, right now I only have Cena as minutes. You're just the minute man.
Okay.
Audrey,
I'll get a uniform.
Audrey, we can call you the secretary or administration. Do you want to do admin? Do you want to be that way? There's less of that. All right. So let's
How
call
about
you
vice president for administration? How about that, Audrey?
Administrative coordinator. I don't know.
Oh, make it stronger than that.
Cool. So
Director.
Audrey for admin, basically, and then Eileen, grant secretary.
Okay.
Do those three sound good? And then we can all kind of talk about it if we have any questions or concerns. So anybody want a motion to approve all of these three roles?
Yes, I do, Tamar.
Awesome.
Second.
Great. And anybody object to these appointments? Great. Congratulations. Welcome to the inner circle.
Wait to tell Emanuela that we took her job position and split it between 3 people.
Okay. All right. So now the last part, event subcommittees plans. I'm gonna stop the screen share and go back, see if I can find my minutes from before. I did a bad job and I closed them all down. So a couple of updates. Oh, and Eileen, you said you had to leave at 5:30.
Yeah, I do.
I think you'll be fine. We'll try to speed through this, but I think that we'll have enough votes in order to be able to move forward.
Okay.
All
I'll
right.
go with the crowd. I'm not going to make. I'm sure whatever everybody else wants to do, they'll be fine.
So basically, we need to have the public input meeting is the very important one that needs to happen, and then there's the creative meet and greet that is equally important because it's a networking opportunity for artists, but that's not necessarily mandated. But the public input meeting is where we gather data from the community as to what they want us to fund. So last we talked, we were actually shooting for this week we were shooting for the 20th of August. So we were shooting for last month to try to get the public input meeting. But yeah, that can't happen. But anyways, what we wanted to do was send out a monkey survey as soon as it got approved. And the SurveyMonkey survey would have preliminary questions and stuff. That way, once we actually had the public input meeting, we had some information already to work with. We want to use, so Zoom has a bunch of polling functions and stuff. And then, yeah, we wanted to plan for the 20th of August at 6, but that's not going to happen. When's the 20th of August? That was a Thursday, right? So I think that the idea was that we wanted to plan for something a little bit later on in the week and a little bit later so that more people can show up and attend. What are you guys thinking about for dates? I'm thinking either the 24th might be a nice. That's Thursday next week, so that's the weekend. That's the week of the 20th through the 26th. I think that might be enough time to try to prepare all of these surveys and a presentation for everybody. What do you guys?
Survey's not going to take very long to gather because people are going to either answer it in the next few days after they receive it, or they're not going to.
Right. Did we want to give them a good amount of lead time to fill out their surveys, or well, not fill out their surveys, but
I think we definitely need to, before everyone's gone today, vote on a date. And then maybe the survey, we can just back it out, you know, that can be sent. We can use last year's questions, the ones that we used at the event, maybe. Because of the grant cycle, if everything happens, it's opening like in a couple of weeks. So I feel like we need this event before that, which means either the 24th or the 25th, and we need some lead time on social media to promote it a little bit and through email. So it seems to me we should either do it the 24th or the 25th or the 1st or the 2nd, even though that's already in the grant cycle officially. So I think it would be good if we could vote on a date today.
okay. What are you guys thinking for? I think I like the 25th. That's a Friday. That way most people don't have to worry about staying up late. I don't know.
I don't expect the input meeting to be a huge rager, but
You never know.
What time did that start, Leo?
We had it at 6. Figured 6 is nice enough time.
Okay. Do you need a quorum from us to do that?
To
hold that meeting?
No, we won't. No, we won't need a quorum for that. That's mostly just us presenting. No, we won't be voting or anything on any. We'll just be holding, giving information and receiving information.
The reason I'm asking is it's my birthday, so I think my wife has plans.
Ooh, happy birthday!
Thank you.
Early birthday.
I am also not available both of those days. But if the 24th through the 25th work best for everyone, you have my blessing.
Cool. Any objections to the 25th of September? Awesome. And yeah, we'll be having it on Zoom. And it'll be, the public input one isn't as exciting as the creative meet and greet. It'll just be me talking to people.
we mostly like a webinar, right? And then we'll take Q&A.
Yeah.
Polling.
Cool. So public input at 6 p.m. September 25th. Awesome. All right. Now the funner of the two, the more exciting, scandalous event would be the creative meet and greet. That one we have kind of a little bit more of a itinerary for that one, I guess. So I don't know how many of you were, how many of you guys were here for the last creative meet and greet, but it was at FAM, and it was nice. You know, you could go buy beer and stuff and drink and talk to people. Now we won't be able to do that, but you can still drink beer at your house. Anyways, one of the programming that we were thinking of. So basically have an open mic show and tell type of networking event where, you know, so me, for example, I'm a screen printer. I can go up there and say, if I weren't hosting the meet and greet, I could go up there and be like, hey guys, I'm a screen printer. Like, this is what I do. The idea being that somebody sees what I do and they're like, hey, I need a screen printer. Let's work on a project together. So that was one of the programming, was the open mic show and tell networking segment. And then after that, we were also thinking about having an artist matchmaking type of thing. So kind of like speed dating, but not dating, just platonic, speed working. So those were the two big scandalous fun events. And then we also wanted to, again, have more polls for artist wants and needs, which I know it's kind of like a little bit redundant to have the public input meeting polls and then the creative meet and greet polls. But they're pretty useful. Last year, a lot of the information that we got for the Fitchburg Arts Collective is information that we got from the creative meet and greet from last year. where people were asking for studio spaces. They wanted Fitchburg to be a cultural district. What else? There's another one of those up there too. So we definitely want to pull for that as well. We also wanted to invite the art stewards in some capacity. I mean, I'm sure that most of them would love to, are going to show up anyways. And then what else? Oh, and then we wanted to approve the graphics with dates and info. So basically the graphics that you see here, Audrey and Casey and Tamar and Scene, those are.
I can show you all the different ones I've created. Oops. If that is helpful.
Yeah, let's see if we can do that. Is there a way? Oh, your co-host, Audrey, the real one.
I mean, you can look at me. Here's this one. Here's it with it's all white. The tricky thing about this one, I really like this one, but it does mean that we have to be a little bit more conscious about leaning to like one side. Because if we're in the center, we might be like blocking some of the information, and also depending how small our thumbnails are, our names from Zoom might actually be covering it. Like right now, it looks like my name is covering applications open underneath there.
Yeah.
So, there's this simple one where it's just like a little, just has the logo, and it has, you know, I guess this would change to administrator or whatever. And then any additional committees. Tamar is the social media subcommittee chairperson, so hers says that there. And here's it with all white. And then this one is where we have to be very conscious about being in the center and not covering things up too much. But it has logo here, and then email, website, grant deadline, application opens, and also our roles.
I think we should pick one just for consistency. And I will say that my favorites are the ones that Scene or Casey have. I like the color scheme with Casey's, but I like the idea of having all the information on one side because it does make it easier for us to get out of the way, you know? So just sit at one side. It's very, so those are the ones that I like.
I like the one with Casey or Sean. Your Scene, is that, I didn't know how to pronounce your name. I'm apologizing.
Oh, that's right.
The email looks very nice with that left version.
I agree.
That's actually the website, not the email. The email.
Well, maybe we can add the email. I think that's really helpful.
Yeah, if we could put the email on and then format the one that Scene is on and the one that you're on as well to be the same as the one that I have. Does that make sense? So that, like, where am I? This is tricky. So that this lettering down here is spaced evenly, I guess.
Do you think we should not include the miniature, like the subcommittees?
Yeah. Yeah.
I see.
So that we'll just keep it to our positions in the large group.
Yeah, I think that would be easier. Yeah.
That makes sense. Because because I mean, you probably can't even really read it anyways.
Right. Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay. So the one that Casey has with, yeah. And in that way, there's less risk of the name at the bottom covering up the application information.
Yep.
We are going to be adding another line though with the email address.
Right. Which email
But I
address is
will
something
do my best to make sure that it won't get covered.
Yeah, you can just use this one as a guide.
Thank you, Audrey, for doing this for us.
Oh, no
your
problem.
best.
Here.
And a topic for a different date, but we definitely have the green light in doing whatever, choosing whichever email address we want.
Yes.
So
And
Leo,
yes.
sorry, may we pick a day today for the input meeting? Sorry, the creatives meeting.
Meet and greet.
Yep. Yes. You're right. So the last 2 points, one of them was a date, and then we will also need 4 volunteers for this one. So yeah, Tamar.
I would like to volunteer.
Oh, cool. All right. So the dates that we initially had were the 11th of September, which I don't think that we could put anything together that we could put something together that fast if we tried hard enough. But anyways, we should have it after the public input meeting, I think.
How about the 23rd at 7 in the evening?
The 23rd of September or the 23rd of October?
October.
Yes.
So the current grant cycle is October 1st to November 15th. We don't want to have it earlier in the potential grant cycle.
Well,
so like this is more about networking than educating. The first one is educating everyone to get their grants in.
Mm-hmm.
And I was envisioning this one is like networking, and then we can put in a pitch. If you haven't put your grants in already, you've got until November 15th. But it's more about.
I feel like the creative meet and greet, it's going to be mostly the artists that would be applying for the grants versus the public input are just people in the public that want us to vote a certain way or or give artists the idea of like things that the community is looking for. But I also know that the public input meeting is also like way easier to put together.
Right. Well, it's also the mandatory one too.
Yeah.
I do think that. We don't have any information on the people who showed up to the last creative meet and greet, or if they apply, or how many grantees went to the creative meet and greet. But I do think that it's valid because you're concerned with having it sooner so that way we can remind them to apply.
Because also I feel like the purpose of the creative meet and greet is like if someone's like, I've got this great idea, but I'm not a muralist. And so they don't think that that's like really a possibility until they meet a muralist and like, oh, well, okay, like let's get together. Like, should we apply for a grant together?
Right.
Thinking in terms of scheduling, we have 2 weeks to pull off an input meeting. And then with Zoom, we'd only have unless you want to move it to the 9th or so of October, we need a couple weeks in between things for organizing. And we're all pretty busy. So just trying to stretch it out in between so we have enough time to do it right.
Yeah, I'm on that boat most. I wish that we'd done it earlier so that it could have served as a good reminder and jumping point for these creative collaborations that could apply to us. But if we have it sooner, I'm just concerned that we'll overwhelm ourselves and maybe it won't be that much better. It's like higher risk, no reward. I don't know, not no reward, but higher risk, not high enough reward almost.
I can probably get some numbers as to what the attendance was to each of those. I just don't have it handy. But I can tell you how many attended the public, because they were both at the museum and I keep attendance records. And I would also argue that it might be good to have something later in the game because there might be people who there's always people who said, oh, I wish I knew about that. So maybe even if it's 2 weeks out from the deadline, it's a good last call and a good so that they don't miss the opportunity.
And the information that we received too from this networking event could go on to influence how we operate as a organization aside from grant funds, because we know the better Fitchburg does, the less funding we'll receive. So eventually, at some point, we'll have to figure out what we want to do with less money from the state. so I think that, you know, events like the creative meet and greet could potentially lead to those sorts of explorations or whatever, if that makes any sense.
Can we
I
maybe
actually,
earlier to like mid-October then?
All right, why don't we aim for the 16th?
Aim for the 16th. Sure. Jesse, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say I actually have to go because I have to go to another artist meet and greet. But I can also let the stewards know about this. But I will.
You vote
I
before it goes, please.
Yeah, I have literally a minute. So if you want to vote now.
All right.
Vote for October 16th?
Second.
Sure. All right.
Thanks, Josie.
Bye.
You're all good. So October 16th it is. All right. And then I think that's it. The last thing we need is volunteers. I think that myself, Tamar, and Audrey are volunteers. I don't know what Jesse said, but if she could or she couldn't. So that could be,
I think she had to leave before we got
right.
to the discussion.
Well, I don't know if we talked about it when we
No,
actually,
like, yeah, back then too.
right. So that'll be something that I can ask her, unless one of you guys is willing to volunteer.
I can ask her. I'm going to the thing after this as well, so.
Cool. I'll be there too. Are you volunteering or are you volunteering to ask? What's that?
Sorry. Do we have a specific time that we're doing the meet and greet on the 16th?
Can we do 7?
Yeah. Well, yeah, we can do 7.
Okay.
Let's do 7 p.m. Does that
And-
work for our volunteers?
That's another day that so I'm doing RLI this arc, I guess. And those are Thursdays and Fridays from 6:30 to 9 through to November.
No, that's perfect. I was in RLI. It's cool. Tell Will Cortesia I said hi. Awesome. Anyways.
People that we would have wanted to be at.
Hold on.
Is that the people that we would want to be at our event? Like, are we like missing a lot of attendees?
I'm not sure who else is doing it this cycle except for, I believe, oh gosh, what's her name? Marissa? But I'm not sure who else is doing it.
Okay. Yes, Tamar?
I just wanted to ask one thing before we go. I wanted to direct this a little bit at Jim, and it was Leo. It was something I had asked if we could have on the agenda. It's about speaking to the city council. Yeah, I thought you forgot. So Veronica had mentioned in one of the open office hours that we could go before the council, and certainly if we wanted to ask for funds, we could ask the city to match what the state will give us, which I don't know that we necessarily need to do that. But I think it would be good if we approach the council, and I asked Michael Kushmarek if we could, what's his title? Jim might know.
He's counselor at large, but he's also the chair of the city council.
He's president of the council.
Right, so I asked him what it would take for us to approach the council and just to speak about the grant cycle for a little bit more publicity. And he said, absolutely no problem. And they meet the 15th, so we're missing that deadline because we needed to vote on it. But they'll also be on October 6th. And he said he would put us at the top of the hour, and he would be happy to have us do a presentation or just speak briefly for 5 or 15 minutes. So I just wanted to mention that and put that maybe onto next time's agenda since we missed it this time.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, and maybe we could pair that discussion, if you don't mind, Leo, with the cultural districts discussion, which we aren't probably going to get to tonight either.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. Yeah, the cultural district was on the agenda, but it's past 5:30, so I'm not too sure how long you guys will want to be around to talk about cultural district designation. But I don't mind tabling that for the next meeting. Now, before we do that though, are you guys all right with trying to have a regular next meeting, which would be on the 22nd? That would be the third Tuesday of September.
Yes.
Yep.
All right, so on the 22nd. So on the 22nd, we can open up the cultural district designation and city council presentation.
Thank you.
Did you say the 22nd was a Tuesday or a Thursday?
Tuesday.
That's a Thursday.
The 22nd of September?
No.
Oh, I'm looking at
We're
October.
looking on October.
Oh, no. I'm talking about
Tuesday, September 22nd is the next meeting.
Yeah.
Right, try to get back into the regular
Yes.
third Tuesday.
I will make Google Calendar events of all the things.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, cool. So that's it. That we've went through a long meeting. We got a lot done. Thanks everyone for everything.
Was the event committee want to set up another meeting, or are we good?
We can do that.
We should definitely have more meetings, especially now that we have set dates on our events. We definitely, yes, let's do it. Well, do you guys want to do that right now real quick, or would you rather do it over email, or?
I'd like to make a motion to conclude this meeting, and maybe we can do that separately outside of this.
Awesome.
All right.
Cool. And any objections?
Not at all.
Are you guys sure? You don't want to? No, I'm just kidding. Cool. Awesome. Great meeting. Thanks for everything.
Bye.